Today, we are going to make a game where you have to control a dragonfly, and he flies around the screen and eats bugs. Here we go. It looks like this. And if you crash into the grass or the trees, that's it. The game is over. So right now my score is 0. Now every time I eat one of these flies, my dragonfly is going to get faster. Oh, but when you crash, it's game over, and then you got to start again. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start by throwing away our cat. Goodbye, cat.
Goodbye.
We are going to add a dragonfly. To do that, I'm going to hover over this and choose the sprite button. And I will just write drag. And then I'll find a dragonfly.
So how do you write dragon? Look, a dragon. There's an actual dragon. Can I use a dragon?
Do you want to do a dragon instead of a dragonfly, guys?
Yeah, dragon. Yeah, dragon.
Okay,
dragon.
What the heck? May as well. Okay, let's do an actual dragon.
Yeah, dragon.
DR. So we got a dragon. Liam's gone ahead and added a knight as well. So why don't we do that too, Quinn? So we just hover over there. So we're not doing dragonflies and flies anymore. We're going to make our dragon eat a knight, because that's what Liam wants to do. So that sounds like a fun idea to me. I'm fine with that.
How do I write knight?
It's with a K.
Oh, knight.
Yeah.
Knight.
Okay. So let's just move them apart for now. In our game, we're going to want to keep score of how many times the dragon eats the knight. So where do we keep score? Which?
We're going to go in the one that says variables.
Yep.
And tap. And then we have to make one that's called score.
You got it. And we'll make it for all sprites and say, okay. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go under events and we'll say when our flag is clicked, go to variables and set my variable to 0. And we click where it says my variable and change it to the word score. Next up, we're going to shrink our dragon because this game's not going to work so well if our dragon is big. So I'm going to go under looks and I will say set size to, and I'm going to try 15% for my dragon. And I'll push my flag. Oh, I've been building the code under the wrong place. Look at that. I built my code under my knight instead of my dragon.
Under the right place.
Can I show you guys a little tip? If you do it by accident, you just pick it up and drop it from the knight to the dragon. And now I can throw it out off the knight, go to my dragon, and here it is in my dragon. So I'll push this. There we go.
How come the knight's still tiny?
We will just have to change the code to make them bigger. Although I think this is actually going to work out great. So when the flag is clicked, set score to 0, set size to 15%. Then we're going to go under motion and say point in direction 90. Because when we start off, we want our guy pointing in at 90 degrees, which is this direction. So we'll push the flag again. You can see it looks great. He's pointing the right direction. Next, we're going to pick a starting position for our dragon. So I'm going to just drag my dragon, over to the left-hand side of the screen to pick a starting position. You can put him up in the air high or down low. Don't put him at the bottom because we're going to put the ground there later on. And we want to make sure that he's not going to start the game by running into the ground. So drag him where you like him. And you can literally pick up this go to XY block and drop it right there. And the position that it has automatically in there is the position where the dragon is currently. So if I move my dragon away and push my flag, he jumps back to that position. Okay, now we need to draw ground for our dragon to run into. Where do we do that?
We got in backdrops.
Yeah, and then we click backdrops down here on our stage.
And then up at the top we click backdrops.
You got it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use my rectangle tool, and I'll pick a color that's greenish or whatever. It doesn't matter if you don't want a green ground, but for me, I'm going to make a green ground and blue sky. So drag your little sliders around, saturation, brightness, and color till you get one you like.
This I like.
Draw a rectangle, and I'm going to make it small, and I'm going to put one tree in there too. So for my tree, I'm going to use my ellipse tool, my oval, and I'll kind of just make a circle here. I'm maybe I'll put a circle here just to make the game a little harder. Your dragon's going to have to fly around those. And then I'll go back to my rectangle and I will use the color brown for my tree trunk.
I only want to put 2 trees that are big though.
Okay, the bigger they are, the harder your game will be. And the last thing I'm going to do is the blue sky. This might be a little tricky. Remember Liam's hint from the other day is if we click and click back, then we won't accidentally change the color. So now we'll change the fill, and I'm going to pick a bluish looking color for the sky. Now check this out because it's going to be a little confusing, but watch. So looks great. Okay, so we've got our dragon, we got our knight. When I push my dragon and click on code and push my flag, it sets up my initial conditions. There's my dragon, and here is my little knight over here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set it up so that until our dragon hits the color green, the same green we used for the grass and the trees, he's going to fly around. So we need to go under controls. And we're going to use a repeat until.
What? Settings.
Sensing, yeah.
And then we're going to use a droplet. And then the touching color.
So repeat until touching color.
Tap on it and then use the little sword thing or the dropper.
And choose the color green.
Oh, do I choose the ground or the tree?
It's the same color, so you can choose either. Good question.
I choose the ground.
Okay, so he's going to repeat this until he's touching the color green. What we're going to do is we're just going to have a look at the different costumes our dragon has. So I'll go here to costumes. And he's got 1, 2, 3 costumes. And
I think I like this one the best.
You know what? We're going to use them all. We're going to go to code.
Yeah.
We're going to go to looks.
Yes.
We're going to say next costume.
Next.
So check this out. If I push my flag, my dragon will start wiggling and blowing some fire. Look at that. He's moving pretty fast. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get this dragon moving. So I'm going to go under motion, and I'm going to grab my move 10 steps block and drop it here.
Can we change that number of steps? Because that seems very
Yeah, 10 is too high. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually do some math in here. So I'm going to go to my operators group, and I'm going to say, I'm going to grab my plus block. So it says blank plus blank. I'm going to drag that down here. We want our game to get harder with every point we score. So I'm going to tell my dragon to move 1 step plus, I'm going to go under my variables and pick up my score and drop it here. So he's going to move 1 step plus whatever score we have. So at first, he'll just move 1 step. But when we have 1 point, he'll move 1 plus 1 step, which is 2. And then when we have 2 points, he'll move 1 plus 2 points, which is 3. And he'll get faster and faster. And the game will get harder and harder. It'll get harder to score points. So if I push my flag, he starts jumping across the screen.
He doesn't move.
Wait, let me see.
My dragon's
He's jumping across the screen. Oh my god.
What we want to happen, kind of like the game Pac-Man. When Pac-Man goes through the side, he comes back out the other side. We want our dragon, if it hits this edge, to come back out the other side. And here's how we do that. We're going to put an if statement together. So under controls, we're going to grab an if block and drop it here.
In here?
Right below our move block. And we're going to check to see if, we're going to need an operator again. We're going to use our greater than block. So right now it's blank greater than 50. I'll drag that in here. And we're going to say if, go back to motion. We're going to check when he's moving from left to right, That's the x-axis. So we're going to scroll down a little bit here and check for his x position. So we'll grab that and say, if the x position of our dragon is greater than, and watch this, I'm going to pick up my dragon and drag him this way. So we want to know if it's greater than, the edge here is like, let's say 221. And I'm going to say, if my x position is greater than 220, then we're going to set the x position to the other side of the screen, which is negative 220. Okay, so watch what happens when I push flag now. He's going to fly across the screen. And when he hits the other edge, he's going to... Okay, so I'm going to push stop. All right, so now our dragon goes through the side of the screen. Now, what does it mean? So this whole block happens until my dragon touches the green. It stops running once it touches green. And what does it mean if he touches green?
Game over.
Game over. So we're going to go under looks and choose say, and we'll just have him say, game over. All right, we want our dragon to turn up and down when we use the up and down arrows. So we need an event.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to go under events, and we're going to choose when space key is pressed. And we want to change that from space key to up arrow. And I'll go under motion. And I'm going to say, if we push the up arrow, we're going to turn 15 degrees counterclockwise. That's what that means. Watch this. I'm going to just right click this and choose duplicate. Drag it down here and say, if down arrow is pressed, turn. Oh, I got to replace that block. I thought it was going to be totally smart. 15 degrees clockwise. I thought it was going to just let me switch the direction here, but it didn't. So let's give it a test. Are you guys ready? Push your flag and tap up and down. When you hold that button, it changes how... There you go. He's flying in a loop. Crash him into a tree. It should say game over.
Yeah, mine works.
Okay, so we've got all the programming ready for our dragon. Let's go over to our knight now.
Mine said ha 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 because I programmed it.
Now, the one strange thing about our game compared to the dragonfly game I showed you a minute ago is we're going to need our knight to fly through the air. So I'm going to click on my knight.
Fly.
Yeah, well, or if we can't have him run along the ground because the dragon will crash almost every time. So I'm going to click on my knight. I'm going to go under costumes, and I'm going to click on the knight costume, and then I'm going to use my paintbrush, and as best I can, I'm going to draw him some wings. Now, we shouldn't draw the wings in blue. I'm going to draw the like a black outline, and then...
Yeah, that's smart, a black outline.
There we go. He's got some wings. Don't worry if your wings don't look perfect. It doesn't matter. And then I'm just going to use my fill bucket, and I'm going to make his wings the prettiest color shade of pink.
Choose the bucket.
Pretty
right?
pink wings. There we go. Yeah, use your bucket to fill it in. Look at
I'm
that.
only doing one wing.
Now, you got to
Mine
close
won't fill.
close the holes. So you can see there are some holes here, boys. So if you don't fill the holes, you can't fill the wing with paint. So that's what's going on here, Quinny boy.
I don't have any holes.
Quinny does. Let's see. Maybe now? Nope. So let's
I
undo
don't
a
want
few.
to fill it pink.
You don't want to. Okay, well that's fine. Let's undo and let's draw your wings one more time. It has to be a closed shape, or you can't use the fill bucket.
I don't really care how my wings go. I just want them to...
Okay, so let's close the shape, and now you can use your fill bucket and pick a color. Okay?
No.
Just undo.
Phew. I love the undo button.
There we go. I'm ready. He has wings now.
So now we gotta write the code for our knight. I'm gonna click on code. I'm going to go to events and say, when the flag key is pressed, we want to do a couple of things. We'll go under looks. Yeah, we gotta make him shrink. So I'm gonna set his size to 15%. We've already shrunk him from before, or at least I did. So when you push flag, if you haven't shrunk him before, he'll shrink. So then we're going to say, we're going to give him an initial starting position. So I'm going to go under motion. First, I'll drag him with my mouse where I think I want him to start. But anyway, I'm going to drag this, go to X, Y block in here. I'm going to make him point in direction.
Point.
Now, I guess we should have our knight running away as opposed to flying across the screen. So I'll have him point in direction 90, which works. That's great. He's pointing this way. And now I'm going to set up a forever loop. So I'm going to go under control. And we want to forever have him moving, running away from the dragon. So the first thing he's going to do under motion is move. I'll grab the move 10 steps block, drop it in, and I'm going to change that to 2 steps. So in the first part of our game, our knight is going to move faster than our dragon. Okay, so if I push the flag, he'll start running, and then he runs into the edge of the screen, and then our dragon starts going.
I'm going to make him slower.
Now we're going to, just like our dragon, we're going to build a check to see if our guy touches the edge of the screen. So I'm going to push stop. I'm going to drag him back just a little bit to see what his X position is here. For me, it's 232. So I'll say, I'll go under control, and I'm going to say, if, and I'm going to use my operators, and I'm going to say, if, I'll grab my greater than block and drop it here. And then I'm going to use my sensing, I'm going to use motion, and I'm going to say, if his X number, X position, is greater than 200, I'll say 230, then we're going to set the X position to negative 230. And that should make him pop out the other side of the screen. So now when I push my flag, when he hits the edge, he comes out the other side. So we want to change our game so that when our dragon runs into the knight, he eats him. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to check to see. So I'm going to go controls again, and we're going to get another if block in our loop here. So the first thing it does in our loop is it checks to see if its X position is greater than 230. If it is, it moves it to the other side of the screen. But then it's going to check to see if it's touching. So I'll go under sensing. If it's touching, and I'll grab the mouse pointer one and drop it there. But instead of checking for the mouse pointer, we're going to check for the dragon. So if it's touching the dragon, what happens?
Disappear, hide.
Yeah, maybe. But more importantly, what do we want to do? We want to increase our score. Well, yeah, or our score, really, right? We want to give a point. So we go under variables. And then we can just grab the change my variable by 1 and drop it here. But we need to change where it says my variable and choose score. So it increases our score by 1. We get a point. And then we're just going to have our knight appear in a different random location. So to do that, we're going to say, we're going to go to motion. And we're going to say, we'll have him go to a random position. And let's make a sound. So I'll go under the sounds here. And right now we have pop. So we could make a pop sound, or do you guys want to record a sound?
I'm going to record a sound first.
Okay.
Allow. Wait, no, you guys make the sound first. So is this for when I eat the, is this for when I eat
when he eats them, yeah. So I'm going to push record. It might ask you for permission. I'm going to say, allow.
Oh, I've been eaten.
There we go. And then you just say save. And it sounds like this.
Oh, I've been eaten.
That sounds very good.
Where is it? Where do you say record?
So if you click on play sound.
Wait, I'm going to do mine now.
And hit record.
Yummy!
Say allow. Push record and then go ahead.
Ah!
Because he ate him.
Yeah. So now I go back to
I
code.
delete my pop sound.
And I'm going to say play sound recording 1. So now let's test it out.
Play sound recording 1.
Oh, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to catch him when he goes through the screen.
Oh, I've been eaten.
I'm coming.
There we go. I'm going to catch him again when he comes through the side. And you can see, oh, I crashed.
Oh, I've been eaten.
My dragon's gone.
I got a score of 2. We hope you enjoyed programming your very own dragon Eats the Night game on Scratch.
Like and subscribe to our videos to see more.